Today we're going to be crocheting this 5-pointed star. To crochet the star you're going to need your crochet hook. This one is a 4mm hook, but you could use any size you want. I would recommend 3.5, 4 or 5.5. Obviously the size of your hook will determine the size of your star. The smaller the hook, for example 3.5mm, will give you a smaller, tighter star than this. 4.5, the star will be a little bit bigger. So your crochet hook, you'll need a pair of scissors to cut your yarn off at the end, to trim it off, and also a large-eyed needle that we'll use to tidy the ends of the star. Don't know if you can actually see, but this is my favourite yarn needle. It's actually a big loop at the end there which makes it easier to thread. So 5-pointed star. I'm just going to move the needle and the scissors to one side and come back to the star. If we look at the star, you can see that the star has a sort of centre circle. Then around that is a kind of a pentagon, and then coming off the pentagon we have the 5 points of the star. The star that we're going to make today is worked over a magic circle which is in there, and I'll explain that later. And then around here we've got 15 trebles. In American terminology, a treble is known as a double crochet. So around here 15 double crochet trebles, if you like, same stitch. Then into the top of each of those trebles I've worked 2 single crochet, and then those 2 single crochets form the pentagon here. They are the base of the points, and the points themselves are worked in single crochet. So circle to start with, then single crochets around to form the pentagon, and then off that pentagon we have the 5 points of the star. One thing I forgot to mention when I talked about the equipment you'd need was your yarn, and today I'm actually using a double knitting acrylic. Rather a large ball there, but you don't need much to make the actual star. It doesn't take a lot of yarn, but I'd rather have more than I need than not enough. So what do? Well, first of all we need to make the circle for to work our double crochets into, and today I'm going to use as I said, a magic circle. To make the magic circle, put the yarn over my fingers like so. This is the free end and the working yarn is here at the back. Okay, so the free end is at the front, working yarn is at the back. Now I'm going to take my hook and I'm going to put it under the free end and pull through, grab the yarn, pull it underneath, so you can see what I've done. Pick the loop up from the back and pull it forward, go in and yarn over the hook, so you pick up the working end, pull it through. So I've got a loop, not actually a stitch at this point, got a loop over my fingers, a loop on my hook. I think you can see it there. What I'm going to do to anchor this, I'm going to go into the magic circle again with my hook, grab the working yarn and pull it through, yarn over the hook, pull it through, difficult to try and do this slowly, pull it through, bring it to the fore and bring it through the loop. Now did you notice I've actually slipped the magic circle off my fingers now, because I've anchored it. That stitch we just did has anchored it. It's locked in. Now here's my working yarn. I can let go for a minute. There's my working yarn and here's my magic circle. So what I need to do now to really anchor that first stitch is to go back into the circle, pick up the working yarn, yarn over the hook, and I've got 2 loops on my hook, and then yarn over just there. I'm going to pull it through those 2 stitches. So now I have a single crochet, and just sit there, single crochet over the magic circle. Pick up the magic circle again, and I like to hold it now between my thumb and my first finger, so I've got the whole loop clamped, and here is my working yarn. I can hold that over there to tension it a bit. So just put it back on the hook, and what I need to do now is to make this first stitch into a treble or double crochet to stand for my first treble or double crochet. To do that, I'm just going to do 2 chains. So that's 1 and 2. So that single crochet and 2 chains stands as my first treble. Now what I need to do is to make 14 more trebles or double crochet, whichever you prefer to call them, into the magic circle. So yarn over into the magic circle, pick up the yarn. So I've now got 3 loops on my needle, on my hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. I've got 2 stitches or 2 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through the 2, and I have 1 stitch on my hook. Need to make another one, so yarn over into the magic circle, pick up the yarn, so I've got 3 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. 1 more together, yarn over into the magic circle, pull through the working yarn, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. I have 1 stitch left on my hook, and including the first single crochet 2 chains, which is my first treble, I've got 4 trebles. I now need to make another 11 more. So yarn over into the circle, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So I've now got 5, yarn over into the circle, pull the yarn through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. I'm going to stop talking now and I'm going to do the rest. So I need 9 more double crochets into that circle, double crochets, trebles. So 1, 2, 3, 4, Right, I'm just going to count my stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So I've got my 15 stitches that I need. Next thing I'm going to do, just make my working loop a little bit bigger. Next thing I'm going to do is to close the magic circle. And to do that, hold onto my work tightly, or not too tightly because you need to let the yarn pull, but firmly. And you're going to pull on that free end and tighten up that hole in the middle. You don't have to tighten it up really tight, you can do that at the end, but I've closed the hole now. There you go. And what I need to do now is to slip stitch, take the stitch and slip stitch into the top chain. When I did the single crochet and 2 chains, I'm going to slip stitch into that top chain there. So I'm going to put my wool back, my loop back on the hook, tighten it up a little bit. This could be a little bit fiddly, but you need to make sure you're in the right place. So there's my single crochet, and here is the stitch I need to work into. So I'm going to slip stitch through that first stitch. Sometimes when I do that, I've slip stitched into the wrong one. So just to confirm I'm in the correct place, I'm going to count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So I have my 15 stitches. I know I've slip stitched into the correct place. And just to finish this part, I'm going to put my wool back in and I'm going to make a chain 1 turn. So I've chained 1 and now I'm going to turn my work over and leave it there. Okay, for the next part of our star, I'm just going to pick up, put the wool back on the yarn back on my hook, and we did the 1 chain turn, so I'm now looking at the wrong side. You can see I'm on the wrong side because here's the free end of yarn. What I need to do now is to do 2 single crochets back into the same stitch where I did the slip stitch. So I'm just going to pull it, so quite tricky to see, but it's in there. It's going to be quite tight. First stitch will be quite tight, but if I hold it like so, it's just in there. That's where I'm going to go. So single crochet back into that stitch there. So yarn in, hook in I should say, pull the yarn through. It's quite tight. So I've now got 2 loops on my hook, yarn over and pull through those 2. Back into the same place. Make sure you go in the same one. Hook in, catch the yarn, pull through, 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2. So in the very first stitch where I did the 1 chain turn, I've got 2 stitches, 2 single crochets. I need to do 2 single crochets into the top of each double crochet all the way round. So into the first one, well actually it's the second one really, yarn in, pull through, or hook in, pull through, yarn over, hook in, pull the yarn through, yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn into the stitch, or hook into the stitch, pull the yarn through, yarn over, pull through, into the stitch, pull it through, yarn over, pull through 2. So basically single crochets, 2 single crochets in each stitch. And keep doing that until you get right back to the beginning. 2 single crochets in each stitch all the way around. We will end up with 30 stitches in total, which is what we're aiming for. I'm up to my last stitch now, 2 single crochets in that last stitch. I'm just going to count before I slip stitch into the first stitch. I'm going to do a count: 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30. Okay, one more time. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30. Okay. And now I'm going to put the wool back, or yarn back on, loop back on my hook, and into that first of those 2 single crochets, first stitch there, I'm going to slip stitch and do a single chain and turn. So now the right side is facing. Okay, I've made my circle of single crochets, 2 in the top of each of my double crochets, and I've made my 1 chain turn, but at the moment I haven't turned over, still got the free end here. So just pick up the yarn on my hook, my loop, and I'm going to turn over. Now this is where we form the points of the star, and we're going to work each point separately, as you can see from that one, each point separately. So what I need to do, I need to go back in to the same stitch that I have my 1 chain turn, so back into that same stitch here, and I'm going to do a single crochet. And then I'm going to pull that one out because didn't get it in the right place. So here it is, goes in here, back into that stitch, and because I've turned it over, this stitch, you need to see where the stitch is. So I'm just going to pull through there. So pull through there, yarn over the hook, pull through 2, so I've made a single crochet in that first stitch. Now I need to do 5 more. So 1 along each of the next stitches into the next 5 stitches. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, So in total now I have 6 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The reason I've done 6 is 6 5s are 30. So for the base of each point of the star from now onwards, I'm going to work over six stitches. Okay, because we're using the same colour yarn, I don't have to fasten off, etc. I'm just going to do a single chain turn, turn the work over. I'm on the wrong side now because I can see the free yarn here on the wrong side. And what I need to do now is to make to taper off the point. So how do we taper off the point? Well, you can see what I mean by taper the point. We do a single decrease on each row up to the top till we get to one chain or one stitch on the hook. So when we decrease, to make sure that we have a nice tidy edge around the star, I'm not going to just crochet 2 together in the normal way. I'm going to explain how to make the edge nice and neat. And even though we make a neat edge, we are actually going to finish it off as well to make it really tidy. So just put my piece back on my hook, and I'm going to work a single crochet into that very first stitch there. I'm going to work a single crochet in there to start with. So my 1 chain turn, single crochet in there. I'm then going to work a single crochet into the next next 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3, not 4, 3. So I've got the first one and then 3 more. I now have 2 stitches left. So I'm not going to stitch in that one, I'm not going to work in that one here in the 4th chain, 4th stitch. I'm going to work in the last one. So I'm missing one, working in the last one. So I need a single crochet, 1 chain turn in that last stitch. So pull the yarn through and pull it through again. You won't actually see the shape until we've worked further onto the point. So need a single chain and turn. And now I'm going to repeat the process. This time I need 4. So I had my 6, my 5 and I'm on 4. So into the very first stitch to do my first single crochet. And remember I need 2 at the end there, so I'm going to work over the next one and the next one. So I've got 3 stitches made. Okay, 3 stitches made, 2 at the end, forget that one, work in the last one to do a single crochet in the last one. Now the point's beginning to take shape. Okay, when you get to that, the end there, chain turn. So back on the wrong side again now, into the first chain. This is our row of 3 stitches, into the first stitch, into the second stitch, got 2 left, miss one and work in the last one. So there are my 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3. Chain, turn. Now I have to work 2 stitches. So I'm trying to hold this so you can see it. My first stitch, second stitch, third stitch. I need 2 stitches in this row, so I'm going to single crochet into the first stitch as usual, miss one, single crochet into the last one. So this is my 2 stitch row. So 1 in there, skip 1 and 1 in the last one. So I am now down to 2 stitches. I really need to get to one stitch. So single chain turn, turn over, and this time I'm going to just do a single crochet in that stitch. So I'm not going to do one in the very first this time, I'm going to do one in the second stitch from the hook there, the last stitch. Single crochet in there, yarn through and pull off. Okay, I'm on the wrong side, as you can see. I need to do a single chain turn, so I'm just going to put my yarn back on and do my single chain turn. There we are, single chain turn, and now I'm on the right side. Okay, so now what we need to do is to, although it looks quite tidy, that point, we're going to neaten it off even more. We're going, and of course we need to get back to the centre to start our next point. So the next thing that we do is going to do two jobs. It's going to neaten the edge and get us back to where we want to be. So we need to make, we did 6 rows, so we need 6 single crochets down the side of that point. So I've done my one chain turn, and I'm going to make a single crochet right into the very tip. So there it is, right in there. Okay, so there's my yarn right into the very tip, single crochet. And don't worry if it looks a bit lopsided when you've first done it. Now I've got a bit of a bumpy piece of yarn, the end of the row there, but I can see right next to that, so I've done one stitch, you can see there's a loop there, that's the end of a row. So I need to make my next stitch in there, in the end of that row, just there. So put my yarn back on, bear with. Okay, into that space, a single crochet. Find the next space, empty space, single crochet. Bump there, single crochet into the next space. Find your next space, single crochet. And now I'm back to the circle. Here's my circle, and this is the last stitch. So I just need one more single crochet in that very last row there. And if I count, I will see that I've got 1, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Okay. So what we need to do now is to start our next point. And to do that, I'm going to work in the next stitch, which is there. I've got a stitch in that one, so I'm going to work now into that one there to start. I hope you can see it, just there. So put my loop back on my hook. I'm going to pick the work up. Basically what I'm going to do into that stitch there that we've just identified, which is where my next point is going to begin, I'm going to put my hook in and I'm going to slip stitch in there. Just slip stitch. Okay, and into the same, I'll do that one more time so you can see I'm working. So there's the stitch, it's going through there, it's going to be slip stitch in there, so in with the hook, pull the yarn through and slip stitch. I need now to chain 1, which we did when we began the first point, chain 1, and a single crochet into that same space. Okay, so I did a slip stitch, single crochet there. That's my first stitch of my second point. Now I need 5 more stitches going across, or so not across, but around the circle. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And just put that down for a moment. I need to let some more yarn out. Now I need to do my 1 chain turn, and this is my 5 row. So I've done my 6 for the base of the point, and my 6, so I need to get that down to 5 now. So I'm going to be working on my 5 stitch row. So into the very first stitch again, single crochet, and then I need to do 3 more across. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Sorry, I don't need to do 4. Sorry, 3. 1, 2, 3. That is the slip stitch. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4 stitches, miss a stitch there, miss that one, and into that one, the last one, and do a single crochet and a 1 chain turn. Into the same stitch, single crochet, and this is my 3 stitch row, so I need 1 more, that's 2, and another one, that's 3, sorry, this is not my 3 stitch row, this is my 4 stitch row, so I need 3 stitches there, miss a stitch, and into the last stitch. That gives me my 4 stitches in that row. I can show you here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Single chain turn. Need to let some more yarn out. And I've got to turn over. This is my 3 stitch row. So into the first stitch with a single crochet, into the next stitch with a single crochet, so I've got 2 made. Now miss one into the last one and do another single crochet in the very last stitch. So I have my 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and single chain there, single chain, a 1 chain turn, and back into that first stitch with a single crochet, miss one in the last stitch, a single crochet. Got 2 stitches now. I need to make that into 1, so I need to do a 1 chain turn, and remember, because we need 1 stitch, I'm going to miss the first one this time and straight into that last stitch. And now I have my single stitch there. Make a 1 chain turn, and I'm ready to come back down to the centre again. I'm ready to neaten the edge back to the centre so I can begin my 3rd point. So I've already made my 1 chain turn. I need 6 stitches, 6 single crochet stitches down the side, so 1 into the very top, just as before. So here's my chain turn, this is the stitch I'm going into, the very top there. You can pick up, go underneath those 2 loops and do a single crochet. Now I've got the end of the row bump there, but I can see the next space I'm going to work in. So let me show you. I've made the stitch in there, so there's a bump and there's the next space for a stitch. Basically it's the end of the rows that we made before. So a single crochet in there, find the next space which is there, single crochet in there, look for the next space which is there, and look for the next space. And one is a big space and the next one is a smaller space, so this is the smaller space but it still needs a stitch. And then finally, just before I get to the circle again, I'm going to single crochet into that last row end. And to make sure I've got it correct, count my stitches: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I have my loop ready to start my 3rd point. The points will look a bit different. That one looks different from this one, but they are actually the same size. We worked over the same rows, so they are the same, but it's probably just the orientation makes them look a bit different. There you go, they are the same. Okay, so now we're going to make our 3rd point. So I'm just going to pick up my piece of work. As we did with the 2nd point, look for the next empty stitch and slip stitch into there. Oops. Slip stitch into that stitch, make a chain and a single crochet back into the same stitch, just as we did for the first 2 points. I need 6 stitches in total, so I've got 1, and you see where it is, and then into the next point, next stitch, another single crochet. That's 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, and I should have 12 stitches left for my last 2 points. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Perfect. Chain turn, working back along the stitches I've just made. I need 5 in this row, so single crochet in the very first stitch, in the next one, and the next one, and the next one. So I've got 4 single crochets made so far. I have 2 more stitches to work, but in this case, as you remember, miss that one, miss one, and work in the last stitch. A single crochet in the last stitch, make a 1 chain turn, turn the work over, and I've made my 6, my 5, and this is going to be my 4 row, so single crochet into the very first stitch, single crochet into the next one, single crochet into the next one. So that's 3 stitches. I have 2 left, so skip 1, miss 1, skip 1 there, and into the very last stitch do a single crochet, chain turn. See how many stitches I have. This is my 3 row, so single crochet into the very first, single crochet into the next. I have 2 stitches left, so single crochet into the last stitch, chain turn. Got 3 stitches, I only need 2 now in this row, so single crochet in the first stitch, skip 1 and single crochet into the last stitch. I'm now ready to do my 1 chain or 1 stitch row, so chain turn. Now this time, remember, I don't crochet in the very first stitch, I just go straight into the last stitch with a single crochet. So I'm down to 1 stitch, but I'm on the wrong side, so I need to be on the correct side, so chain and turn, because what I need to do is to work down till I get back to the centre again. So, and we remember this now, we need 6 stitches just to neaten off the rows at the end of the points. So that's 1 in the very first, in the next one, in the next one, the next, 2 more to go, 1 in there and 1 in the very last. So I now have 3 points. Remember the procedure, find the next empty stitch which is there, slip stitch into that and make a single chain there, back into the same space as that chain and we do a single crochet and 5 more single crochets now as we go across. So 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can always check. 2, 4, 6 left for my last point, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for my 4th point. So chain turn. This is my 5 stitch row, so single crochet into the first, single crochet into the second stitch, single crochet into the third stitch, single crochet into the 4th stitch. I've got 2 stitches left, miss a stitch, skip a stitch, same thing, and single crochet into the last stitch and chain turn. This time I need 4 stitches, so single crochet into the first one, single crochet into the second, third, and I've got 2 stitches left, so skip 1 and my last single crochet of this row into the last stitch. So I've got 4 now, so chain turn. I need 3 stitches in this row, so single crochet to first stitch and the next one. I've only got 2 left, so skip a stitch and single crochet in the last stitch. Chain turn. Just let some more yarn out and turning over. Right, this is my 2 stitch row, so single crochet in the first stitch, miss 1, single crochet in the last stitch. Sorry, I'm splitting my yarn there, so I don't like doing that. Okay, so single crochet into the last stitch. hate it when I split my yarn. So now I need to end up with one stitch, so single chain turn and single crochet into the last stitch. So I end up with one stitch on my hook. Chain turn, and now we get back to the centre by doing 6 single crochets, putting each one at the end of the row. Okay, so one in the top, I apologise for the pinging noise. I forgot to turn my email off, so Outlook was sending me messages. So single crochet in the first stitch, single crochet in the next one, single crochet in the third row, single crochet at the end of the fourth row, single crochet at the end of the fifth row, and single crochet at the end of the sixth row. Okay, so I'm now ready to do my last point. Okay, same procedure as before. I can see my last 6 stitches that I'm going to work into. When we've completed this last point, we're also going to be neatening the ends, the ends of the rows that we haven't already neatened. So let's make our 5th point first. Same procedure. Find the next empty chain stitch, which is that one, slip stitch and chain and single crochet, all in the same place. And then our 5 other extra single crochets along there. Okay, so there they are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's the first one, and my other 5. Now, same as before, chain turn. This is our 5 stitch row, so single crochet in the first one, first stitch, and in the second, third and fourth. We have 2 stitches left. We skip one and single crochet into the last stitch and a 1 chain turn. So that was our 5 stitch row. Now we need our 4 stitch row. Single crochet into the first stitch and the next one and the next one, so that's 3 stitches, 2 left, so miss one, single crochet into the last stitch and a chain turn. So single crochet into the first stitch, single crochet into the second stitch, got 2 stitches left, so miss one, skip one. Sometimes I say skip and sometimes I say miss, so I'm going to miss that one out, and single crochet into the last stitch and a chain turn. Just need 2 stitches in this row, so single crochet in the first, miss one, and single crochet into the last. We need 1 more row as such, so chain turn, single crochet. This is our single crochet in the last stitch row. We just need a single stitch left, so we're not going to do it in the first one this time, just straight into the end as we did before. with one single crochet in there, so I end up with a 1 stitch row. But we're on the wrong side, remember, so what we need to do is to chain. We don't need to chain anything, sorry, getting ahead of myself there. Oh yes we do, sorry, chain turn. We do need chain turn and single crochet into the first row, single crochet into the next space, so we need our 6 stitches all the way down. Okay, 3, 4 and 5 and 6, and we're just going to pause there for a moment. We have our 5 pointed star made, but what we need to do is to neaten this edge. We've got a tidy side, every other side is nice, but we've got the raw edge, as it were, along there, and that's what we're going to come on to next. Okay, so how do we neaten this edge? Okay, easy peasy when you know how. So what we're going to do, I picked it up and I'm holding it and trying to hold it closer to the camera so you can see what I'm doing. This is my last stitch in here, and I need to find the beginning of my points. So this is my circle, and I need to find the first stitch, and the first stitch of the row is in there, not here, because this is where we did the kind of the turn, as it were, and we can tell because we actually need 6 stitches to the top. So if you look, 1 in there, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, so we can work out where it needs to go. There, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I need to work into that stitch there. If you find it tricky to do it that way, count back from there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you don't need to take your yarn off the hook. I just do it so that I can show you where I'm working. So putting my hook back in to that first one we identified, slip stitch as usual, chain 1 and a single crochet into the same space. Now we need 5 more single crochets to get us back to the top into each of those spaces we identified. It's worth spending a little time with your work just to find out where those ends are so that you know where you're going to put your stitch. So I need 1 in there, 1 in there, 1 in here and 1 in the top. Okay, and I'm just going to stop there for a minute. Now really, if you get an extra stitch in the side, it's not going to make a huge amount of difference, but you will notice that I've got all of these raw sides that I need to tidy up. I've done 1, but I've got 4 more to do, so I need to get back to do this one. So how can we do that and still make the work look tidy? And I've actually done it on this star. You might just be able to make it out when I point it out. That's single crochet on the kind of the side that we're working on now. Down here it doesn't look much difference, but what I've done, I've got a chain, single chain at the top there, and then I've slip stitched into the base of that row that we did when we tidied up the edge of the star, coming back to the centre. That will all make sense when we do it. So I'm at the top, I need to start coming back down this side. Okay, so I'm at the top now, I need to start coming back down here. So I'm going to do a single chain. That's going to get me across the point of the star, and then I'm going to find my first stitch. I'm going to put my hook through at the base there, picking up both of those loops and pull my yarn through. So basically I've made a slip stitch. Into the next one, pick up the yarn, slip stitch, and you can see now into each of those stitches along the side going back I need a slip stitch, and into the last one. Okay, so I've now come round this point and tidied it up, but I need to get over to this side. So what do? I'm just going to let some more yarn out. I'm going to find the first stitch, first row, so there it is. So this is where I'm going to come in here with a slip stitch and single crochet, because I need 6 up this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So once you've done it a couple of times, it becomes very easy. You know what you're looking for. So slip stitch in there, chain and a single crochet. And now I need 5 more to get me to the point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're single crochets. Got to turn the point. So to turn the point, we need a chain, find your first stitch into the base of that first stitch we did on the other side to tidy, slip stitch into there, and then slip stitch back to the centre in the base of all of those other stitches. So I'm going into the base there, slip stitch and slip stitch, slip stitch, to the last one, slip stitch. To go along the next point, just pull it out a bit and you'll see precisely where you're going to go. A hole will open up, there it is. Okay, so I'm going to slip stitch, chain and single crochet in there. Slip stitch first, 1 chain and a single crochet. And then back up that point with 5 more single crochets. So I have 6 stitches in total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That one is just the join between the 2 points. And a single crochet. Sorry, correct that. A chain to turn around the point. We need to get back to the base again, so do my chain, and I'm going to do a single crochet. No, I'm not going to do a single crochet. I'm going to do a slip stitch into the base of each of those points. I don't mean the base of each of those points, I mean the base of each of those stitches. I will confess to you that it was 7 o'clock at night when I was doing this, and I'd have been in a board meeting all day. Hence, getting a little bit tired, but we've not got much further to go now. So, single crochet to tidy up that side. So to do that, slip stitch into the next point, space, you know where you're going to go now. First row of the next point, single crochet, and then 5 more to the point at the top. chain at the point, slip stitch back to the middle. We've just got one more side to do now. Same procedure, base of the next point, slip stitch, chain, single crochet, and then single crochet back to the top of the point. Now, got back to the top of the point. Our star is looking quite nice. We'll be finishing it off properly. I could stop there and just do a few chains and come back in here and join it off and make a sort of a hanging loop if I wanted. So, you know, could just chain up and come back, make a hanging loop. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to make it look the same as these other points. So we're going to end up back here. So in that case, I'm going to make a chain as usual and then slip stitch into the base of all those single crochets at the end of the row there to get back to the middle. So I've now slip stitched all the way back to the centre. I now need to finish off. I need to finish that off, and the way I do that is going to go right in there between the 2 points just here, and I'm going to slip stitch. Oops, well if I can get in there. Slip stitch in there, and I'm going to tighten that up because this is finishing off, and I'm just going to do a chain and pull it tight. Now I appreciate that this is on the wrong side, but we won't notice when we finish off. That's it, star complete. All I need to do now is to cut the yarn through, pull the ball of yarn off out of the way, and because I've used the same number of stitches etc, it's a match for the one I made previously. The only thing is this one has been tidied up, this hasn't. What I need to do now is turn it over, close that circle a bit more, so pull that nice and tight as I can get it. I'm going to pick up my yarn needle and I'm going to thread it through the back. Can't see it on the front. Same colour anyway, just put the needle through, thread the needle and pull the end through. Put the needle in again. You don't really need to be too fussy about this as long as it's tidy. It's not going to take any strain. What you do with a star, I mean, you could applique onto a cushion or something like that, or make what do you call it, like bunting and things like that, by making a few of them. So I've cut that off, and eventually that end will disappear. This is my right side, that's my back. You can still see that little fluffy end. What I'm going to do now is to take my needle, just push it through there, to that space, and pull that yarn through. Okay, just pull it through. And turning over, so I've got the working yarn out the back. And I'm going to decide where I want to darn that in. And what I'm going to do, I think, is to bring it and darn it in along here, along that row, so I can see where it is. I'm going to come down here. I'm a bit fussy with my darning in, and then I'm going to put my needle along the back there. You can see what I'm doing, and now thread the needle. Oops. Thread the needle, put it through. Before I cut it off, just going to check what it looks like at the front. Oh, I can't really see it. There it is, that's where I was working, so I'm quite happy with the way that's tidied away there. Cut it off. And there we have our completed 5-point star. Okay, and this was taken well, quite a few minutes to do. If you're working this on your own without having any distractions, you can do one of these. It takes me about just under 30 minutes to make one. But that's our 5-pointed star. They don't tessellate, unfortunately, but you could make a streamer. You could do all sorts of things with them. And that's it. I apologise that the table keeps moving around. There we are. You can tell I'm not a YouTube crocheter. Well, I am at the moment, but not normally. There you go, 5-pointed star.